Hey, hi guys, welcome back. All right, Aries, let's take a look at this. So, we're going to take a little peek at kind of the central tree of life slash Celtic cross storytelling here. We've got the Three of Swords in the reverse, along with the Hanged Man also in the reverse. This actually looks like the central topic is Aries isn't heartbroken anymore. Aries has seen things from a different lens. They've paused long enough to work through the emotions. Let's crossing this. We've got the World card sideways. We've got the Wheel of Fortune upright. And it's funny because we actually have Pan on both of these cards. And I just say that's interesting only because we do have like lusty energy. We have, what I want to say is like being brokenhearted over someone or something became old hat. It wasn't fun anymore. I'd much rather listen to some great music. I'd much rather, dance. I'd much rather have a good time again. I'd much rather, maybe go toward something different in my life. There's got to be something more than this heartbreak after all. Being heartbroken, it can hurt for a long time, and then at some point we just go, oh God, I'm just so sick of thinking about this, and then we kind of like make that alteration in where we put our attention. And I feel like that's kind of what Aries did here. It might not have been easy at first, right? And indeed, Aries might only be 3/4 of the way done with something, but they're emotionally, or let's say intellectually, they're saying, honestly, I don't really feel like being wounded over this anymore. I feel like I learned something instead about this. I feel like um, maybe I learned that if I were attracted to somebody mostly for lust, because Pan can be very lusty. Okay. Pan is in the Greek mythology, the ancient Greeks didn't build temples to Pan because he was associated with the forest. And so he was more the little rustic god. And so it was like, areas outdoors were dedicated to him, but not necessarily, um, temples and such. So there's a sense of wild freedom here, which can be wonderful, and unbridled passion and fertility and music and dance. But on the other hand, sometimes it is brief. It is but a season in our lives. And I kind of think that that's what this whole storyline says, is that Aries has maybe contemplated, maybe I was brokenhearted over somebody that maybe they were never going to stay in my life. Maybe they were in my life for a season, and it was a fun season, and it was a lusty season, but maybe I fell more in lust with them than in love. And as I think Aries is recognizing that, it's freeing themselves up to say, okay, then let me call it what it was. Maybe it was some good loving, but on the other hand, I'm ready to meet somebody else, because it there's more than that out there. There's more than one person that could be, a great kisser. There's more than one person that I might want to share love and romance with as well. So I'm kind of not crying over them anymore. Underneath all this, we have the Queen of Cups. Ultimately, this says Aries has a lot of emotion to share, and they want to share that, particularly this year. We got the year of the snake. Aries is done waiting for someone to come back into their life that they may simply recognize was Mr. or Mrs. Good Time, but not necessarily Mr. or Mrs. Right. And I think Aries is saying, here's where the disconnect was. I actually have a ton to offer, not just lust. I have a lot of emotion to offer as well. And what I realize is I don't really want another like lusty connection with somebody who's fun, but maybe the fun it doesn't really go to the heart. It just stays, on the surface, in the physical body, but not necessarily hitting into the heart. I realize that about myself now. So at the foundational level, I think Aries is really clear on why they can be done hurting over someone. And it's because that person wasn't supposed to go the distance with me anyway, as it turns out. Yeah, in the recent past, we had Nine of Swords. This person really, really, really left Aries sleeping alone, stressed out, wondering where that person went. I feel like there were a lot of sleepless nights. I don't even know if Aries could sleep in their bed for a while. They might have been, laying out on the couch. They might have been like, there's too many memories in this bed. I don't want to think about them anymore. I'm so stressed out. Where are they? And I feel like that's no good. That's not a good place to live in our head of like missing somebody, longing for somebody, uncomfortable so much so that we go out and sleep in the hammock or on the couch, all because we're restless. I feel like there was a restless energy for Aries because there was a stressed out energy. I say that my Aries is right nearby. He's been staying real close to me today. Okay, crowning the thought, so that basically the higher self comes in with the 10 of Wands. Again, Aries is done with that kind of lonesome journey. I do think that this is one of those situations where it might have even been infatuation. No judgment. We've all been infatuated with somebody before, been there, done that. It's really hard sometimes to understand when it's not love, when it is infatuation. Because here's the thing, I don't think Aries set out to be infatuated with anybody. I think Aries would have given real emotion, but when the other person is not giving more than that, when they're just there for a good time, and Aries is like, oh my god, this feels so amazing, and I want to give emotions, that's where I think it gets really hard to say, okay, wait a second, I must only be infatuated with them because I'm unable to separate the fact that what they're giving me is not an emotional interaction in return, yet I still want that, but I'm not actually getting any of the things that I wanted. Okay, so I have the capacity to give more, but I'm trying to give it in the wrong location because that person is not actually giving it back to me. They're only here for the passion. Let me look at it for what it is. Now let me say, well, then this won't be totally fulfilling because they're not matching me in the emotion. And I just feel like Aries has that perception now. It's like, oh, I thought myself through this. I've been on that journey of, so it was infatuation, but I'm a lot more than that. I got a heart. I got emotions that run deep. I can give a heck of a lot more. Oh, there's some song trying to bust into my head, and I can't think of what it is right now. It's definitely an Arcade Fire. It's not Year of the Snake. It's something else. Dang, it won't come to me, but they're a great band. And if Aries was hoping that somebody would be a partner to them, would be someone they could go the distance with, somebody they could go the long haul with, somebody that they could really, if they had a child or something, it's like, oh, I wanted that person to be like a partner, and I imagined that we would build and nurture something, whether it was a business or a baby, or I'm looking for a long term, and I realized it wasn't them. But it sucks when you were thinking that somebody might be the long-term person and you were envisioning building all this, and then it turns out, nope, I'm still just building it by myself. But it is a relief for Aries to say, yeah, but I have longer term plans. It would be like being really sad when you go on a vacation and you're like, wow, I would like to live here, but the place that you're vacationing in, it's just a hotel. You can't buy it, rent it, stay in it permanently. You know that this is transitional. Enjoy it for what it is, but don't cry when you leave, because if you decide, I do love that area, I'd like to move back there, then go make some plans and, regroup and make it really possible. But don't set your sights on like, but I want to live in this hotel where they bring me, an all you can eat buffet and blah, blah, blah. That's not really realistic. It's wonderful, but don't get seduced by how great it is and think that I'm going to stay here forever. No, it's just a really nice time. But you can get a version of that if you plan it and you go after it in a different way. If you immigrate to the area that you were vacationing in, if you actually find the money to buy something or live there, you're probably still not going to have somebody bring you a buffet every day like they did at the resort, but you can get more realistic about it. And I think that that's the equivalent. I think that's what Aries knows. Okay, so in Aries' upcoming future, we have a Two of Swords. Aries is not too keen on like anything just yet. It feels like Aries, at least for the first like 2 weeks after, because this feels very fresh. This feels like Aries has just recently said, wait a minute, that person was transitional and I'm not transitional. That was, I was nuts about them. It was passion. And I wanted it to last, but I realized I was wanting something to last that wasn't really lastable. And then I was sad over that. Well, I'm not sad anymore. And I kind of know what I'm looking for, but hang on, let me just still catch my breath for a minute. Because I think being healed from something, letting it go, and being ready for the next chapter is different than actually starting the next chapter, right? The same way, let's put it this way. If I have like a big dinner party and I've done a ton of cooking and then the guests leave and then I clean house and then maybe I nibble on leftovers for a couple days, I don't immediately go grocery shopping. I don't immediately start saying, okay, let me plan the next big dinner. Or, okay, I just did a 7-course meal last night for everybody. Now that's all cleaned up. Now I think just for myself, I'll, make a 4-course meal. Like I don't just jump into some other huge thing. I get some downtime first. And I think that's the best way to look at this is like, let me just get some downtime first. Yeah, 5 of Swords in the reverse. I think the Aries is like, I just want to be calm and peaceful for a bit. I'm not mad anymore. I'm not hurt anymore. I'm not, wounded anymore. I'm just comfortable. Let me just enjoy this. I don't really want to meet anybody just instantly, not just yet. What does Aries wish for more than anything then? Personal happiness. 9 of Cups, Queen of Wands. Perfect. This is Aries saying, I literally just want to be me for a bit. I just want to, do some stuff for some self-care. I want to float in a, go to the gym, go to some place where there's water, soak and take care of myself, hydrate, nourish, cleanse my aura. I want to meditate. I want to buy myself some nice, sexy new outfits and pajamas. I want to recalibrate and I want to feel like the person that I actually am. I'm sexy, I'm powerful, I'm attractive, I'm all these things. Whether this is a masculine or a feminine, doesn't matter. This is still our sexiest queen. And of course, masculines have feminine energy to them as well. Everybody needs to take care of themselves. Everybody needs a, little spruce up here and there and, get back to themselves and just do things that they enjoy and have, like a clearing of tension and negative energy. Everybody needs that. And I just feel like it's so brilliant that Aries is like, yeah, what I wish is just to give myself just a little bit of a breather so that I'm having a really good time by myself right now. Because I'm not wounded anymore. Yes, I'm ready for the next chapter, but let me be really true to me for just a hot minute too. I love that. What's the outcome here? 9 of Wands. We have wounded warrior, definitely more warrior than wound. We have, she's like all crouched and ready to sprint forward. This is somebody who's going to, I don't know, I feel like, is Aries going to be doing some kind of like marathon, half marathon, relay race, whatever it may be? We have a Page of Swords. We have a Queen of Swords. This is looking like Aries is setting their sights on what they want next. Now, if they're busy doing things that they simply enjoy, and I definitely feel like there could be some element of physical activity. I'm not saying Aries is like, I'm going to go get my revenge body, although they might. I just don't think that they're pushing themselves like that, like must look amazing, I don't think that there's an element of, oh my God, I've got to improve myself. I think what Aries is doing is for themselves, not because they're like, I feel less than, therefore I have to reestablish and regain confidence. I don't think we have an Aries that is lacking confidence, truly. But I do think that they are possibly doing fun things to like recalibrate their energy, or like I said, possibly physical things, exercises, stuff that they've just wanted to do for themselves. What's interesting is the more they focus and the more they put their intentions on what they want, don't you always know that that's when somebody else pays attention? Because we've got this, in this case, is like a masculine fairy who is like flitting around, like noticing Aries. I don't know if this is somebody who's going to be at the gym who's like, wow, I noticed that amazing Aries. Or if this is just somebody who's in Aries, like general vicinity, who's like, gosh, I'd love to talk to that person. I notice them. They seem driven. They seem self-possessed. They seem really amazing. They seem very straightforward. I like who this person is. There's definitely interest. This is definitely somebody doing a little bit of spying, and Aries is oblivious to it. Aries is over here simply consulting more with their guides, their ancestors. What should I do next? Ancestors, fill me in. What do you think that my next move should be? What's the next thing I should go do? It's really great energy, really beautiful energy, actually. Let me get another one here for the outcome. 8 of Swords. This is going to happen, I think, without Aries trying. When I say this, what I mean is somebody's attracted or interested in Aries, even though Aries is not out looking for anybody. But you notice how normally this is stuck energy, but it's not stuck at all. Aries is like being levitated into the ether, into the sky. Whatever is going on with Aries, they're not going to be stuck, stagnant, trapped. They are being kind of like, I'll just say, pulled upward by the energy of the universe. I think that Aries is a little bit oblivious to doors opening for them, people interested in them, because keep in mind, this whole story has been Aries has been dedicating themselves to, coming back to themselves after a pretty significant heartbreak, after some significant lessons that they've learned. But remember, the Wheel of Fortune has opened up. Wheel of Fortune, when it's moving in our favor, yeah, we're going to be levitated. Yeah, we're going to be lifted right out of what we felt was like a stuck mindset, or something that we thought we were going to have to heal from for a long time. The universe is like, no, you're actually fine. You've already done the work internally. So doors are opening for you. And we're just going to kind of, like, without you even knowing it, you're going to be gently transported into the next chapter of your life. And I kind of think that in this case, I'm not saying Aries has to get with somebody if they don't want to, but I am saying we have somebody who's very interested in getting to know Aries. This is somebody who is like, they actually are paying attention. They want to talk to Aries. And you know what's funny? If you look at their body postures, this person could be such a great match for Aries. Look at the way they both stand, and they're in the exact same body posture. This is somebody who already says Aries is a kindred spirit to me. Now, they could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Doesn't have to be. They could be somebody paying attention to Aries from, a distance, or they could be somebody who notices Aries online. They could be somebody that is in Aries world, but Aries is just not considering anybody right now. But this person is considering them. This could be a wonderful and unexpected twist where someone approaches Aries, not the other way around. And that might be a really refreshing, really nice thing. Let me get one last card here. Messenger of Cups. Yeah, they'll approach Aries. Aries isn't probably going to have to lift a finger on this one, because honestly, that's not where their heart or mind is at. They're just loving their own life for a little bit. This person approaches Aries with some kind of an offer, but it's tentative, it's gentle, they're not going to overwhelm Aries, but I do see that they've been paying attention. It's like they learned something about Aries before ever even having a dialogue with Aries, before ever asking Aries out. They will have already recognized some attributes of who Aries is. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.